On behalf of the Division of Student Affairs, I would like to welcome you to this prevention education training. Recently, the hazing laws changed in Louisiana. The Board of Regents and the Board of Supervisors, our governing bodies over the UL system, has mandated certain guidelines from the university and from the organizations. ULM has recently revised the hazing policy. In addition to that, each organization will now have certain guidelines that they must meet on an annual basis. The Office of Student Life and Leadership, in collaboration with UPD and the Office of Student Services, will be providing prevention education training and the resources you will need to implement these guidelines within your own organization regarding new members, students, or prospective members. I would like to introduce to you some key players that will be presenting tonight. This is Lieutenant Jeremy Kent from UPD. Would you welcome him? We have Megan Lee, who is the Coordinator of Student Life and Leadership. We have Allison Crockwell, who is the Coordinator of Student Development. And then we have the big guru, the Director of Student Life and Leadership, Emily Essex. I would also like to give special thanks to Caitlin Williams and CJ Nash, or Clarence Nash, for all their assistance in helping making this night possible. Before I say anything further, I would like to thank you and to advise you that we make sure that on your way out that you get your ID scanned so that you will get credit for attendance tonight. All right, Megan, would you step up, please?
Alright guys, we're going to keep moving right along so we can get out of here. Like she said, my name is Megan Lee. I am the Coordinator for Student Life and I am the RSO Advisor. So we're going to be giving you this presentation. Basically what we're doing tonight is training you as organization leaders. This training is so that you can take it back to your organization and train the rest of your members. We will touch on that and your responsibilities following this training later in the PowerPoint. But just keep that in mind that this information that you're taking in from us is important for you to retain. If you're an advisor new here tonight, we really appreciate that as well, because you will be held accountable for your officers taking this information back and presenting it to the rest of the chapter.
Alright, so as we're getting started, we're just going to kind of go over some terms and actually go over the definition of what is hazing. So, for any of y'all that don't know, hazing means any intentional, knowing, or reckless act by a person acting alone or acting with others that is directed against another when both of the following apply. So, when the person knew or should have known that such an act endangers the physical health or safety of the other person or causes severe emotional distress, and the act was associated with pledging, being initiated into, affiliating with, participating in, holding office in, or maintaining membership in any organization. It includes, but is not limited to, any of the following acts associated with pledging, being initiated into, and affiliating with, participating in, holding office in, or maintaining these memberships in organizations. It includes physical brutality, such as whipping, beating, paddling, striking, branding, tasing, placing a harmful substance on the body or similar activity. Physical activities such as sleep deprivation, exposure to elements, confinement in a small space, or calisthenics that subject the other person to an unreasonable risk of harm, or that adversely affects the physical health or safety of the individual or causes severe emotional distress. This is also activity involving consumption of food, liquids, or any other substance, including but not limited to alcoholic beverages or drugs, that subjects the individual to an unreasonable risk of harm, or that adversely affects the physical health or safety of the individual or causes severe emotional distress. Activity that induces, causes, or requires an individual to perform perform a duty or task that involves the commission of a crime or an act of hazing. So next we're going to, little trivia, so this is your chance to win a t-shirt. So fact or fiction, hazing builds unity.
Raise your hand.
Fiction.
Hazing builds animosity between people and does nothing to foster trust, unity, or respect. It simply just makes you a better hazer. So definitions you need to know being involved in your organization. So what is an organization? It is fraternity, sorority, association, corporation, order, society, corps, cooperative, club, service group, social group, band, spirit groups, athletic teams, or similar groups whose members are primarily students or former students of a post-secondary education institution, including the national or parent organization of which any of the underlying entities provided for in this definition is a sanctioned or recognized member at the time of the hazing. So pledging is any act or activity related to becoming a member of an organization, including recruitment or rushing. So the appropriate authority includes any state or local law enforcement agency, a 911 public safety answering point as defined in Title 33 of the Louisiana Revised Statutes of 1950, emergency medical personnel. Reckless behavior is defined as an activity or behavior in which a reasonable person knew or reasonably should have known that the activity or behavior may result in injury to another, including but not limited to excessive consumption of alcohol, binge drinking, drag racing, consumption of any controlled substances, acts of hazing, or other similar activities. Serious bodily injury is one that involves unconsciousness, extreme physical pain, or protracted and obvious disfigurement, or protracted loss or impairment of the function of a bodily member, organ, or mental faculty, death, or a substantial risk of death.
Hazing includes but is not limited to any situation which can create a risk of injury to any individual or group, causes discomfort to any individual or group, causes embarrassment to any individual or group, involves harassment of any individual or group, involves degradation, involves humiliation, involves ridicule, or involves or includes the willful destruction or removal of public or private property for the purpose of initiation or admission into affiliation with or as a condition for continued membership in an organization. Some things you should know about hazing, just some facts and figures. More than half of college students involved in clubs, teams, and organizations experience hazing. 82% of deaths from hazing involve alcohol. Individuals cannot consent to being hazed. There's no such thing as consensual hazing. Just because the majority of the members of an organization are not involved in a hazing incident does not mean that the organization as a whole is not responsible. Hazing is not just associated with athletes and group-letter organizations. It occurs across a wide spectrum of organizations. That's why you're all here being mandated to take this hazing prevention training. Fact or fiction, raise your hand. I went through it, so they should too. True or false?
False!
One class can break the tradition of hazing. It just takes one group, one initiated class. It just takes some courage and integrity to do what is right. So just because it's been done in the past, or you know that you might have had to go through it, does not mean that it's okay to continue doing it, or that you should put any other class through. Hazing in student groups, these percentages break down from highest to lowest the percent. Obviously, varsity athletes and our social fraternities and sororities are the highest at risk. But as you can see, until you get to intramural teams, and even intramural teams are right on the line, we're still at 50% of hazing. That's not an acceptable amount in any case, especially at this university. Even honor societies are still at 20%, and that's still incredibly high. Some myths about hazing. Hazing builds unity. That is very wrong. Hazing builds animosity between people and does nothing to foster trust, unity, or respect in your organization. It simply makes better hazers for the next class. I went through it so they should too. We just talked about this. If they agree, then we're not hazing. Remember, I just said there's no such thing as consensual hazing. Since peer pressure leads students to consent, the focus is on what you do, not whether they said you could do it. Compliance with the law. Each institution's policy must comply with applicable law and regulations and must be amended to reflect any changes to such laws and regulations, including but not limited to the following. Act 635 of the 2018 regular session of the Louisiana Legislature, which creates the crime of criminal hazing, provides definitions and exceptions, and establishes exceptions and penalties. Act 637 of the 2018 regular session of the Louisiana Legislature, which creates an obligation to offer reasonable assistance, including seeking medical assistance to someone who has suffered serious bodily injury caused by reckless behavior, including hazing. And also Act 640 of the regular session of Louisiana Legislature, which prohibits hazing at Louisiana's public post-secondary institutions, requires Board of Regents to adopt a uniform policy on hazing prevention, requires public post-secondary institutions to adopt and expand on the Board of Regents' uniform policy in a manner consistent with the laws and the Board of Regents' policy. Failure to comply with any applicable laws and regulations, including those listed in the previous slide, shall constitute a failure to comply with this policy. Each management board, as the entity with the authority over the day-to-day operations of its member institutions, shall make all due diligence efforts to monitor its members' institutions' compliance with applicable laws and regulations.
All right, so we're going to help you guys give you some signs of alcohol poisoning. One of them being that they just won't wake up. Obviously, there's something going on, so you want to make sure that you assess the situation. Also, vomiting, skin takes on pale, bluish hue, irregular breathing, convulsions, cold skin. So if you see any of these signs to happen on one of your friends or just someone that you see, please call 911 because obviously something's wrong and that's not normal. So what should you do? After calling 911 for emergency medical help, there are other steps to take to help a person who is experiencing alcohol poisoning. These include keep the person awake if possible, keep the person informed, and let the person know if you're going to touch them or perform any action on them, as some individuals may become aggressive. Keep the person sitting. If the person is conscious and able to swallow, try to get them to slowly drink some water. If the person is unconscious and lying down, carefully roll them onto their side with their arms over their head so they will not choke on their own vomit. Last, get a warm blanket for the person if possible, as alcohol poisoning will likely make them feel cold. All right. Hazing is a societal problem. Yes, that's a fact. Hazing incidents have been frequently documented in the military, athletic teams, marching bands, religious groups, professional schools, and other types of clubs and or organizations. All right, here are some signs of hazing. You're required to carry certain items, cutting, branding, labeling, or shaving parts of the body, required greeting of members in a specific manner when seen on campus, required walking in groups to class, food service, and etc., performing a special task for the members or others, appearance of sadness or expressions of inferiority, and withdrawal from normal activities or friends.
So how does hazing impact the person that's being hazed? This can be physical, emotional, and or mental instability. They can end up with sleep deprivation. They can have a loss of sense of control and empowerment in their day-to-day lives. You can see a decline in grades and coursework. Their relationships with friends, significant others, and their family will suffer. They may end up with post-traumatic stress syndrome. There is often a loss of respect for and interest in being part of the organization that has hazed them. There is an erosion of trust within the group members, and it can often end in illness or hospitalization with additional effects on their family and friends. What is the impact on those who have hazed? There's often seen a decline in their grades and coursework. Their relationships also suffer. There's a loss of connection to alums through the organization, tons of media scrutiny. I know you guys have seen that, especially recently with the influx and the focus on hazing in organizations. There's damage to your own personal reputation if it gets out that you're the one hazing, or that you're part of an organization that hazes, because your name is no longer just yours, you are the organization. There's a warped sense of what leadership is, and there are feelings of shame and guilt. So a lot of the consequences are the same for the person being hazed and the person that's hazing. The impact on the organization, loss of reputation within the campus, community, local area, and nationally. We've seen that here on our campus recently with examples. Loss of recognition for the organization, team, or club, and or other privileges revoked from the university. Civil damages may be levied against the organization. The organization's officers may be held personally responsible, and a gradual erosion of the true meaning and values of the organization that you care so deeply about and represent will occur. Consent is not defense. It is not a defense to prosecution of an offense that the person against whom the hazing was directed consented to or acquiesced in the hazing activity. This is part of the University of Louisiana System's hazing policy. All right, ready? Fact or fiction? Raise your hand. If they agree, stand up. Then we're not hazing. Fiction. Since peer pressure leads students to consent, the focus is on what you do, not whether they said you could do it. A lot of these fact or fictions are coming from things we've already talked about.
Okay, so you asked, how do we report hazing? Well, there's a few ways. You can submit a report through ULM Police as a silent witness or through the ULM Incident Reporting Form. ULM's ability to investigate reported incidents, enforce the university's expectations, and protect future students depends on the accuracy and the specificity of the information provided. You are encouraged to provide as much specific detail as possible so that the appropriate action can be taken to address the reported behavior. You have the option to submit a report anonymously through campus officials, though campus officials may find it difficult to complete their investigation without knowing the source of the report. This is the URL for the report, or for you to report the hazing. How to report hazing continued. If you need immediate assistance, call campus police at 318-342-5350. In a non-emergency situation, you can discuss hazing-related concerns with any member of the faculty or staff. If you're unsure who to speak with, you may contact either Dean Jackson, Karen Foster, she's the director of the Counseling Center, myself, which is the director of Student Life, Allison Crotwell, which is the coordinator of Student Development, or any other university faculty, senate, or staff that you trust. Legal and disciplinary consequences of hazing. Such actions may include, but is not limited to, the following: legal actions up to and including jail time and fines, college discipline, suspension or expulsion, and membership and organizational sanctions may occur. Questions you should ask yourself to determine if you or someone you know may be getting hazed. Is there secrecy around the activity? Is there pressure to participate? Is a specific group or individual singled out? Do members justify it as being a tradition? Take the perspective of your parents, and would they be proud? Your coach, athletic or recreation director, or even the college president. Would you be willing to defend the merit of this activity in the court of law? And does this activity meet the spirit of its intent, the ideals and values of the team and the college?
So what can we do to take steps towards preventing hazing on our campus? First, we can reduce the power differential between members and initiates. Give members time to reflect on their actions. Encourage members to voice concern with the new member education program that your organization presents. Be willing to amend and change your traditions if they might lean towards the side of hazing. Develop a chapter anti-hazing policy, which is what we're here to help you put in place today. We're giving you all the tools, and we're going to continue giving you the tools throughout this year so that your organization can develop its own policy and its own training system to help us end hazing on this campus. Share your ideas with other organizations. If something is working really great for your organization, or you found out that it's not working the way you thought and you need to go a different direction, share that with other organizations on campus. Share that with our office so that we can know what's working and what's not for you guys. And take advantage of campus resources. We're going to give you so much literature, so many opportunities to have the tools you need to present to your organization, and you guys need to take full advantage of that as leaders. We need to get this implemented, and we need to make a difference on our campus right now. The in-house training for your organization members. This is the part that you are responsible for as leaders who have taken this training from us today. Your officers or your advisors or your members who are not here have not been authorized to lead a training session for the rest of your chapter. Only you sitting in this audience are authorized and trained to now go train your members. So if you're the only officer or the only advisor, the only representative of your organization today, you're on your own. If you've got a group of you here, that's awesome. That's why we wanted as many people as possible here, so that you can all share this responsibility and work together to incorporate it into your next meeting or whenever you decide to schedule this training. You are responsible as leaders who attended this to administer your in-house training. And we will distribute an in-house training packet from our office, which will have detailed instructions, detailed deadlines, as well as all the information presented here today and all the links and everything that you need to present this to your members. Your new members are required to be educated on this training. I have each semester here, but as long as it's done by the end of the year. If you bring in new members in the spring semester that didn't get this training this fall by our deadline, you need to get them trained next semester before the end of the school year. And failure to comply with the completion dates set forth by our office in your packet will result in the suspension of your organization for 1 academic year. That means that if you don't meet the dates that are in that packet and you don't complete the training and we have your report turned in on time, your organization will not be able to fundraise, will not be able to host events on or off campus. You will be frozen in wingspan and lose all privileges. You will not be recognized by our office to do anything under the university's name as an active organization for spring semester, summer semester, and next fall semester. You will not become active again until spring 2020. The training packet will be completed as soon as it can. We're videoing everything here today. Once we have those videos, all the paperwork is ready for you guys, put together in that packet. We'll have these videos as well so you can present them to your organization, and that you will get follow-up emails as to when that's available. And there will be also instructions on how to fill out the report that you'll have to turn back in to me. That will include a roster of all of your members' names, signatures, and campus-wide IDs that you, as the president and your advisor, will have to sign off on that all of those members were truly present and this is not a falsified document of attendance. You will also have to, whoever the administrator of the training is, whether it be an officer, whether it be an advisor that's present today, will have to write a one-page report on the date, the length, how it went about, who was in charge, how you decided to implement this training process. Just give me a detailed overview of the event that you held in-house. This is a 1-hour in-house training session. That's all you're required to do. So whenever your scheduled meetings are, if you do this in place of that just 1 week before the deadline, when you have a normal meeting scheduled anyway, then you will have covered your bases. It'll only take an hour of your time. Fact or fiction, raise your hand. Hazing is an act of power and control over others. Gray shirt, Harley. I saw the gray shirt and it's Harley. Fact or fiction? Fact. Hazing is victimization. Hazing is premeditated and not accidental. Hazing is abusive, degrading, and often life-threatening.
Okay, so here's one more thing that we're actually going to implement over the next, hopefully a couple of weeks. We're working with a third-party company right now that is building this for us, and it's basically an online prevention education module. And if you notice, we've got a Greek life side and it's called S360, which means basically the general population. And if you notice, there's some topics included, and that's just going to give you an idea of some of the things that will, basically what it is it is an app that will be on your phone, and once a month we'll push things out to you guys, and it's basically just some information, whether it be about sexual misconduct, whether it be about prescription drug use, or things like that, that's basically things that you deal with and go through pretty much on a daily basis. And so this will just kind of be some, like I said, prevention education information for you guys that'll help you out, as well as some of the things that we will require that you have to do. Example, the hazing portion of it will be something that will require everyone to do. The Greek life part will be a little different because that will focus on more Greek life issues and things of that nature. And then the other one we will have will be for student athletes and for veterans. So there's 4 different modules that we'll have that we'll implement. Like I said, it hopefully will be in the next couple of weeks. It's a big process of building all of this. But we are very excited about it because it will be a lot of good information, and we all know you have your phones on you 24/7. So it'll be something, like I said, it'll shoot you out an email, it may shoot you out a text just saying, hey, this particular module has been uploaded, so it'll give you some more information as far as what it is. And obviously sometimes it'll be up to your discretion as to whether or not you do it, but a lot of the things will be required. And it will keep records of that, and we'll be able to pull those records to see who has done it and who has not done it. Yes, that will be part of the packet. But like I said, it's being built right now, so as soon as we get that, everything cleared away with that, we will pass that on to you guys, so just kind of be looking out for that, okay? And the last thing we have are just some different sources that you can go and take back to your group. That'll just basically, it covers a little bit of everything that we've just talked about. So if you want to kind of get some things of more in-depth information, then obviously these are some very good sources that you're going to want to look at. And like I said, it'll basically be up to you guys to get this information out to your groups. So make sure that the information that you are giving them is beneficial, and it's important that you stress that to them, that they retain that information.